Hello and welcome to your full moon forecast for the Leo full moon on February 12th at 5:53 a.m. Pacific time. I am your astrologer, Cawnawyn Moore. Today we have quite the full moon. I'm really excited to look at this chart. Let's jump right into this. Here is our lovely chart for this full moon. Just a quick reminder, I always use an Aries rising at 0 degrees, so we're not really working with house systems or rising signs, but if you take this time, for me it's in Seattle, Washington at Pacific time, but if you take that and convert it to your time zone, you'll get a very different looking layout for the chart. And so you can see how it might be affecting your community, or you can take the same chart and make it a bi-wheel with your natal chart and figure out where this full moon is happening for you. So my question to you is, where do you have 24 degrees of Aquarius and Leo? Because here's our beautiful sun sitting at 24 degrees Aquarius, opposing our lovely moon, which is big and gorgeous and full, my goodness, over there in Leo at 24 degrees. So where do you have 24 degrees Leo? That is where this full moon is occurring for you. Whatever house that's in for you might lend some idea into how to work with this full moon if you are still wondering how you might want to work with it, or how maybe it's affecting you directly, what area of life you should focus on. An opposition typically shows up in the form of a relationship. So your relationships right now, emotions might be really, really high, like in terms of energy. There's a lot of energy happening. There might be a lot of conversation happening because we have fire and air element working together. In fact, not only do we have those two elements working together, but Mercury just made its conjunction with the sun. And so a lot of air and Mercury in its air sign that it is probably the happiest in because it's able to operate very quickly. So it just made a conjunction with the sun yesterday, and they're operating in this very intelligent, fast, futuristic minded air sign. So what happens when we get this moon opposing the air sign of Aquarius? So the Leo moon comes in and kind of reminds Aquarius like, hey, your individual spirit, your soul, yourself, because the moon is ruled by the sun when it's in Leo. I know that's going to be confusing. We'll get there. Hold on. Anyway, the moon is ruled by the sun, and so it's reminding us to tap into our sun, our collective soul, our collective soul's purpose, soul's journey, soul's expression. That is what Leo wants to do. It wants to express and share joy, creating, and because it is ruled by the sun, it wants to bring life, whether that be actual real life, like human life, or creative projects, or being the life of a party, or however life and joy show up for you. That is what a Leo is trying to bring and share with others. So when it opposes its own ruler in the sign of Aquarius, now the sun is clear over here, and quite frankly in Aquarius it doesn't care much for itself. It is more focused on serving a much greater purpose. This is why Aquarians are typically people that frankly are revolutionaries, are people willing to stand up for other people in the community, those who are downtrodden, those who are the underdogs, those who are cast out of society. The sun in Aquarius says, I'm going to put my own ego aside and really fight for the causes and the people and issues that I really care about, because I want to fight on behalf of a greater community, on behalf of a greater collective, for the future. It's still, Aquarius is still ruled by Saturn, okay? So even if you look at the modern ruler, which we'll talk about in a moment, Uranus, but I really look to Saturn being the first and foremost ruler of Aquarius. It's our traditional ruler. It's ruled Aquarius for as long as astrology's been around. And Saturn is really concerned with time. And so when it manifests itself in Aquarius or operates in Aquarius, Saturn is concerned with future. How can we provide a future that is going to grow and flourish into something that future generations can really cultivate and live and grow and share and have joy in, right? How can we create a better world? That is Aquarians' number one focus, number one mission. So the sun in Aquarius abandons its ego and says, I'm willing to fight on behalf of all of these other causes, all of these other people, because I am a small part in a much greater purpose. So I can do my part to serve that. And the moon comes in and goes, hey, but remember, you are also an individual. So have you been feeling this tug of war lately? Have you been standing in a place of wanting to operate on a greater collective and perhaps people are coming into your relationships with a sense of ego and self-centeredness and emotional volatility that is causing like some issues, or having you confront why you're going after the issues that you're going after whatever causes you might be wanting to fight for. Or has the opposite happened, where you've been confronted with a sort of future direction of everything, where you feel like you as an individual can't even fit into that, and you're dealing with trying to find your place in the whole thing, because ultimately to you in your life, your place does matter, right? Like knowing where to operate, knowing how to help, how to be yourself, how to express yourself authentically. So this axis for full moon is really interesting because the moon is in a sun-ruled sign, and the sun is as far away from the moon as it can get. In a sign where it's not as comfortable, because as you can imagine, the sun wants to express and shine itself. At least it's had Mercury sort of helping it, but then we look to the modern ruler of Aquarius, and this is where we're going to get into some aspects to this moon. As you can see here, we have this opposition. A full moon always makes an opposition because we on Earth stand in the middle of the chart. The sun is on one side of us, shining its full moon light onto the moon on the other side of us on Earth. But both of these planets are making, and I know the sun and the moon are not a planet, these luminaries, right, are making a square. In fact, this is what we call a T-square aspect to this Uranus, almost exactly at 23 degrees of Taurus. Now, Uranus in modern astrology is considered to be the modern ruler of Aquarius. So now we have another conflict, frankly, with a planetary ruler. So there's a lot of strife in here about like, well, what am I supposed to be doing? Where are we supposed to be going? Like, I thought we were supposed to do this, but our rulership is taking us in this direction, and that doesn't feel aligned. In fact, it's causing a lot of square strife and tension and potentially problems and obstacles, and we're not able to see eye to eye. This T-square, if you have this in your natal chart, you're kind of wrestling with these energies at all times, where there might be aspects of you that really, like, on paper don't agree very well, but then they're manifesting as part of your personality, and maybe you find yourself contradicting yourself quite often. Maybe it's really hard to settle on a decision. Maybe it's really frustrating how many obstacles you seem to have to overcome in your life, because that's the story the universe decided to give you, or rather, as an evolutionary astrologer, I believe that is what your soul decided to take on as the challenge. That's a whole separate video, of course. And if you're interested in me going deeper into any astrology topics, I'd love to. So just let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this. So we have our sun, as well as our Mercury, frankly, and then our moon all making this T-square to Uranus. Now, Uranus in Taurus is in an earth sign. Uranus brings great change, in fact, radical change, instantaneous change. It wants to shake up the thing that is the status quo. And the thing about Taurus is it's an earth sign and it's very fixed in nature. It is a fixed sign. And so it's kind of about the status quo. It doesn't want to move. Taurus works incredibly hard, has incredible grit and endurance, can really see through something to the very end of it. The loyalty and the just investment that Taurus is willing to make is wonderful. So deep and so powerful. So I'm not trying to hate on any Tauruses out there. But if a Taurus is comfortable, it's quite hard to make them want to move. And Uranus is all about change. So we've all been dealing with this Uranus in Taurus since about 2018, 2019 is when it firmly went into Taurus. We've had things like the foundations of our lives that we thought we could, kind of take for granted have been completely shaken. Our resources have been like completely thrown into question, and we've seen our earth like shatter and crumble and collapse and explode, quite frankly. Like all of the things that we thought were going to last forever and we were comfortable with were taken away from us, or didn't last, or were not what we thought they were. And we had these like incredible moments of realization around. Uranus is here to liberate, first and foremost. It wants to free us from whatever chains, whatever issues, whatever baggage is like holding us down. It wants to crack that open and free it. But sometimes that can feel rather amputative. And it can be shocking. I mean, Uranus is always shocking. If it's a shock, it's probably Uranus. It can be really jarring. And in Taurus, Taurus doesn't love jarring ever. So Uranus has had kind of a tough time. And now we're faced with this potential jarring, shocking revelation or shift in our reality or change or sudden upset or sudden obstacle that is really making us quite aware of these energies playing out. Because remember, while an opposition might approach you in the form of a relationship, as above, so below, as within, so without, some of this is happening, maybe all of this is happening somewhere inside of you. What have you been exploring or considering or having to deal with in terms of your individual self versus where the collective is moving? What have you been considering around your own creativity, your own time, your own energy, and where maybe you could be putting that time, creativity, and energy toward a greater use for a greater purpose? Has there been a sudden shift or a change that's caused you to be, quite frankly, aware of like the things that you're taking an enormous amount of pride in versus the things that scare you about the future? This T-square is the main aspect I am looking at for this. And you might have even been talking about this or sharing about this recently or thinking about this. You might have even had to travel for something regarding this because Mercury was just conjunct the sun, and the moon, of course, is going to make an opposition just hours later to Mercury as well. So I would definitely recommend use that mercurial energy and communicate if you can. Maybe it's writing it down, maybe it's recording yourself and talking to yourself, maybe it's talking with a friend, a coworker, a family member. If you feel like you need to get up and move or do something, or perhaps take a page out of Aquarius's book and experiment, play with it, pull it all out and see it in front of you. Aquarius can be a great experimenter and scientist. So how can you be a scientist? How can you test different theories? It doesn't have to be heavy. In fact, Uranus kind of makes it like a flash, like a lightning bolt hits you and just, and remembering while square energy is tense, it can be tough, it can be challenging, it's also meant to move you. It's meant to activate. So really the only thing that could hold you back is really trying to sit in this stubborn Taurus energy. And not only are we dealing with Taurus, we're dealing with Taurus, Leo, and Aquarius. These are all fixed signs. So it might really feel like you want to stick your feet in the mud and say, no, I don't want to shift. I don't want to change. But something might be really pushing you to. So where are you feeling stubborn right now? Where are you feeling maybe a lack of authentic self-expression? And how can you work with that? How can you unpack that and figure out what's blocking you so you can, Uranus, liberate yourself from that? And how might you feel so fixated on the future and serving such a greater purpose, so many other things, so many other components, that you're losing sight of your needs, your individual needs, right? Uranus is coming in to liberate, and it is our ruler of the sun, which is ruling our moon. I know the rulerships go, you can just follow those rulerships all around the chart and they'll show you so much. So definitely recommend just like spending a day looking at your own chart, check out your rulerships, see where they all lead back to, because it can be a really cool exercise. But these are definitely the main aspects that I'm really seeing come out of here. And I will say, we are just days away from Mars going direct. Who here feels personally victimized by the Mars retrograde since November 3rd? Oh my gosh. And it is personal. It's in Cancer. It's been in Leo. Like the moon just traveled over all those degrees that Mars is in. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like fixed in a not great way, or you're feeling like the world is stubbornly not bending to your will, if you feel like you're stubbornly not changing and you feel the need to liberate yourself and change, this might be that illumination, that moment of realization and revelation that allows you to see what the next steps are. But I want to encourage you to be patient, to be open to whatever flashes of brilliance might be there for you, what insight might be waiting for you, and know that it may not get off the ground as smoothly because we still have a Mars in retrograde and it is slowing down. It's at the degree it's going to be in when it goes direct. This is just in a little over a week on February 23rd. So just a little heads up for the future. I will, of course, see you for the next full moon, which we will have in Virgo, which, by the way, is a lunar eclipse. So eclipse season begins very, very soon. Please be journaling out there. Please be taking care of yourself. Under this full moon, please be taking care of yourself. This is a pretty intense one every year. Like, at least it is for my fixed sign people especially. So if you are a fixed sign person, one step at a time. You're going to be just fine. We're going to get through this. It's a full moon and it is cyclical and it will all come back around. So please be sure you check out Bonfire Babble if you are interested in my seasonal forecast. I do every zodiacal season over there and give you all the juicy transits and some magic inspiration, magic ideas for using the chart in your day-to-day life. Also, if you're interested, we have a really insane March coming up for transits, and in my 2025 class, which I am selling right now, you can buy the lecture and get the worksheet that covers a ton of March transits. It starts really revving up in the next few weeks, folks. So if you're interested in that of course is available. Please be sure to subscribe to my Blue Hour newsletter where I let everybody know once this is uploaded, as well as all my other astrology videos, new music, new blog posts, all those things. So you can follow me over there, and subscribing is free and you get all the stuff in your inbox directly. It's not a whole lot of stuff. I am a one-woman show over here, but if you're interested in keeping up with everything I'm doing with astrology and with music, I definitely recommend you subscribe to that. And of course, you can follow me across all social media at Cawnawyn More. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you for the next lunar eclipse in Virgo, as well as I will see you at Astro shortly afterward for the spring equinox. May you manifest a life of divine purpose and glory, for you are worthy and you are free. Blessed be.